We'll
Yeah.
give Brad 30 seconds.
Yeah.
A minute. When it
When it goes
goes 01.
4:01, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, at least we got them all ready.
Yeah.
He's careening through the hall right now, I'm sure.
Is he?
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Hoping.
We're the 401. 10 more seconds. We're waiting. Let's see what happens. Okay. Is there anyone here to give public comment? I recognize everybody. No one comment. Go ahead.
With PSTA, with more people taking the buses and using bikes now to travel, and with technology improving, coming up with bikes that are electric, that can fold up. What is the policy that PSTA has? Because I had a situation with my electric bike that folds up, and on one side you have some bus drivers that won't allow me on, while most of them will allow me on. They'll just ask me if the battery is enclosed and not exposed. And I'll tell them that it's enclosed and they'll allow me on, while you have others saying there's no policy, you haven't asked no bus driver that you can get on, so no, I will not call my supervisor to see if you can get on. What is the policy around that? Because, like I said, a lot of people are ditching their cars and taking buses and riding bikes. And sometimes they don't want to ride miles on a bike. They want to take a bus and put their bike on the bus. Sometimes the bikes are electric, so they don't have to pedal. Especially in the Florida heat, you know, you get tired easily pedaling. So what, is there any type of policy on that? Because you got bikes that do fold up, small enough so it won't be in the way of passengers getting on the bus.
So this should be the kind of thing that's under member comment and not,
I'm
so
sorry.
public comment is for people who are observing the meeting.
I
And that's
know
just
about
fine, but you're not limited to 3 minutes during member comment, and
Okay.
from a procedure standpoint. From your content standpoint, we don't have an electric bus, that's right, an electric bike policy as far as I know, but we can certainly look into whether we have one, what our policy is on foldable bikes. We do let on board. And we are, for the BRT at least, we're looking for all bikes to be on board, and we'll have more spots for bikes on those particular buses as opposed to being on the front. So let's bring that question back to the next meeting. We'll do a little.
I can answer that.
Oh, okay, good, excellent.
There was a policy about electric bikes before, but I'm here before Mike Gloss, who was our former superintendent of safety and training. Before he left, he put out a policy saying that electric bikes were allowed on board now. Gas-powered bikes, still no, but electric bikes should be able to be going.
But you're allowed to put an electric bike on the front.
Yeah.
Okay, what if because I'm sorry, again, about it being a number comment, I wasn't thinking about it. Because you have some drivers that will allow the bike within the bus, and some will allow the bike on the rack, because that's what I'm confused about. I don't think a lot of drivers know that you have some that do and you have some that don't. So I think, to me, all the drivers need to be on the same page, because you don't want a disappointed customer and they don't want to ride the bus no more, because you got this driver saying yes, this driver saying no, and PSTA has one thing, it's like 3 different stories.
So it's a good comment, and we will,
I'm sorry about making it.
we'll go ahead and make sure we get that, do a refresh notice to all of our drivers to make sure they know, again. And then one of the very key things that TRAC members can do as well, and myself as well, when we're riding the bus, to reiterate what the policy is. Again, so just to be specific, what the policy is for those foldable bikes, you're always allowed to bring those on the bus.
Okay.
Regular bikes, you're not supposed to bring those on the bus. You're supposed to put those on the front bike rack. And now, the electric powered bikes are also allowed to be put on the front bike rack.
Okay.
But we'll make sure that we get the notice out again on that. And gas powered bikes are not allowed because they're, I guess, a hazard.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, thank you. That started us off with a bang. Because I learned a lot, and I've seen you riding with the bike on the bus, so. Moving on, Chair's report, which is me. Highlights from last month's board meeting. There was a presentation by James Bradford, Chief Operating Officer, about last month's COMTO, Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, National Conference held in Tampa that was co-hosted by PSTA. It was attended by over 800 minority transportation industry officials. COMTO's mission is to eliminate barriers to maximum participation for minority individual, veterans, and people with disabilities in multimodal transportation industries. The board approved the fiscal year 2020 truth in mileage trim. Notice the millage rate of 0.7500 will be transmitted to the property appraiser, and this will result in, and I practiced this, $3,881,050 increase to PSTA in property tax revenues in 2020. The board also approved the selection of 40-foot premium hybrid buses for BRT project and the October service changes that will eliminate the deviations on the Dunedin Palm Harbor connector, the Countryside Oldsmar Tampa connector, and the Safety Harbor connector. Brad, is there anything else?
That is a fabulous summary of the
Yes.
last PSTA board meeting.
Yep.
You did an awesome job.
And next, action items. Approve the July 16, 2019 meetings. Minutes. Since there was no forward Pinellas by CAC meeting last month, we will move on to our first action item. Has everyone taken a look at the meeting, the minutes from that meeting a month ago? And did anybody catch anything? All righty. If not, we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Seconded.
Done and done. Motion passed.
You have to vote.
I forgot the vote. All right, we're going to vote. After the two motions, we'll take a vote. Motion to,
All in favor,
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
all opposed?
All opposed? Silence. It passes. Motion passed. The next action item is the Transit Development Plan, TDP, progress report presentation by Heather Sobush, Director of Planning. And there she is.
Hi.
Hello, Heather.
Good to see you. So yes, this is a presentation on the Transit Development Plan, and it's an action item to recommend approval of this year's progress report. So in summary, the FDOT requires us to submit annually a progress report and then every 5 years a major update of what they call the Transit Development Plan. We have to do this in order to receive some of our state grant funding. We like to think it's just mandating good planning, and really it just rolls up all the other work we're doing here at PSTA into one document. So it includes any service planning recommendations coming out of our community bus plan. It includes our implementation plans and our current budget. The priority projects that are included in the plan form the basis for our legislative priorities. And then also the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is called Ford Pinellas, keeps a priority list. And for us to be eligible for certain pots of funding, we have to be on their priority list. So as our plans feed into those other efforts. So like I said, we are required to submit a major update every 5 years. This will be our last progress report for our 2015 update, and next year we'll be going through the effort of overhauling the whole document. And so this year it's just a progress report, and what that does is give us an opportunity to report out accomplishments on our priority projects, to talk about if there's any changes to the priorities, and it gives us the opportunity to add new priorities and to update things like our vision plan, which you'll see later. So some of these accomplishments that are highlighted in the Transit Development Plan are the expansion of our innovative programs. So I know some of you have tried some of the innovative programs like the Mobility on Demand or the Direct Connect. So we did some major expansions to those in the past year. We joined an autonomous bus consortium so we can start working with other entities on developing autonomous vehicle projects. We also received a silver recognition from the American Public Transportation Association for our efforts to be more sustainable, and some of that includes a focus on purchasing more electric buses and hybrid buses, but we've also done some projects here at this campus to improve energy efficiency and some other things that are recognized by that group. We've had a number of successful spring break partnership projects. So we had the successful spring break yet again this year. We actually worked with the city of Clearwater to implement a new transit center in the marina parking lot, so there's a more comfortable waiting area for your return trip back to the park and ride. Another great year at Pride, and we added a new park and ride lot with the Rays. Hopefully there'll be an away game next year and we can do that again because it was really popular. And then we implemented just some minor service improvements that were recommended through our community bus plan. So we can't do a lot of these projects without grant funding, and so we're really proud to have received all of these grants in the last couple of years. We've received money for electric buses, for our Mobility on Demand, the same day paratransit project, and a number of other projects listed here. So on some of our priorities, and these are projects that have been on our priority list for quite a while, we've made a lot of progress. We're at 60% design of our Central Avenue BRT, so that keeps moving forward. We recently won a planning grant, so we're going to start working with the local communities along the corridor, so St. Pete Beach, South Pasadena, and St. Pete, and more importantly, members of the community that are surrounding that corridor, on looking at the land uses, making sure there's still affordable housing, making sure small businesses are able to maintain their businesses during construction, and those kind of things. So that's kind of exciting and coming up. We're moving forward on our fare box project, which is for the smart cards. We developed a fare policy, but that project is just a little delayed, but it's still moving forward. And then as I mentioned before, we've been replacing buses as we can with the grant funding we can and going toward electric and hybrid. And soon we'll start construction over the lay-by of an in-route charger so we can test the electric buses on more routes. Right now it's only on the downtown looper. We've implemented some operational enhancements, which some of you have hopefully got to experience. We have the 52LX, and that's that limited stop service during peak hour running over the 52. We improved the frequency of Route 59 to 15 minutes, improved the looper, and then we've been really working internally to look at our on-time performance and look at routes that maybe run early a lot or run late a lot, and then target those for improvements in our scheduling process. So every 3 months we look at another set of routes and try to improve them. I already mentioned Clearwater Beach, and then we're also working with the DOT on a bus on shoulders project. And so what that is it'll allow our 100X bus to use the shoulders of I-275 when traffic slows, like I think it's below 35 miles per hour. So speed us up a little bit in that corridor. And then some of the future priority projects that are included in the transit development plan and that we're still working on are to continue to improve weekend and evening span, frequency on our routes, especially our core routes, and some of the feeder routes. Our regional express routes, we'd still like to see a bus running from Clearwater Beach to Tampa International Airport and from downtown St. Pete to Tampa International Airport. And then we want to begin preparing our other high-performing corridors like 4th Street, East Bay, for more BRT-like service. So more frequency, less stops, and maybe more of those 52LX type overlays. We also continue to look at new innovative programs and also expand or maybe improve our existing programs like Direct Connect. We submitted a grant recently to allow us to increase our subsidy on Direct Connect, so it maybe would be more usable for a lot of our bus riders. And then I mentioned before, we're looking at an autonomous vehicle pilot project, and we're looking in downtown St. Pete and Dunedin at BAC. This is just a really long list of basically all those priority projects I just mentioned. But that list is what the DOT looks at to make sure it's in our plan to give us funding. And then we also updated our optimal vision network. And this is really that long-term vision that will be incorporated in those other long-term plans of all the things we really would like to see in this county to have really good bus service that would be usable by a lot more of the population. So you'll see, well, some of the underlying, we updated some of the local routes to reflect, like the connector service will be going away as a flex route, it'll just be fixed routes, so we updated that. And this is a rather expensive proposition, and so we do continue to try to work with the local governments on trying to identify additional funding, and they're having a conversation at the county about a few of these corridors, and trying to get us funding to improve them. So this is just the schedule. Over the course of this week, I'll be presenting to various committees, and then on September 1st, we will submit the plan to DOT. And finally, our recommendation is that we would hope that you would approve this progress report and recommend that the board does so as well. Any questions? Yes?
A few meetings back, you guys were talking about a parking ride over there on 22nd Avenue.
Mhm.
Is that still in progress, or?
So yes, that park and ride lot currently, we technically could use, but we can't access it with the way the configuration is. So we have submitted a grant application. We haven't heard back about it, but to get funding to improve that lot and make it so we can take the 100X bus off of 275 and serve it. So we're just waiting on the funding to be able to do so.
Okay.
Yes?
Just a small comment. I think you had said something about the BRT running over the 52, except there's like the Caroline deviation from that on some of them. So sometimes they won't actually be on the same route.
Right. Yes, we have done that on the LX, and I think each route that we would look at that kind of service, we'd
Or
look
the
at similar
LX, yeah.
things. Yeah, we'd look at similar if we needed to do that on other routes.
When will the Central Avenue BRT be in effect?
I think we're looking at early 2021 now. Brad's not.
A year and a half
Oh,
ish.
oh.
But it's moving, it's moving.
It is moving.
Yes?
What is this AV circulators?
So, there's a lot of autonomous vehicle
Okay, autonomous
technology.
vehicle, okay.
And so transit agencies are starting to partner and looking at how we could maybe incorporate some of those kind of circulators into our system.
I'm very impressed. We got one more over here. Go ahead.
On the map legend, there's a label for premium transit proposed. I'm just wondering what that is.
It would be either express bus or that limited stop service.
Okay,
Yeah. We just use that term premium because it kind of captures a lot of things.
okay, yeah, I wasn't sure what premium meant in that case, okay.
I'm impressed. I see a lot happening. Everybody's busy. And I'm at home while you guys are working all hard. And I'm just showing up saying, wow, that was great. We'll take a vote to see if we like the action item. Any questions or comments? I don't think there are any more. You guys were pretty vocal. We need a motion to approve the TDP progress report.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
And a second. We'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo. Good job.
And now it's time for member comments.
Information item
Oh, we do have
about
another one?
track term limits and the application process.
Yes, I read that. Now we will hear an information item on track team limits and the application process form from Nicole.
Hello, everyone, and
Sorry, Nicole,
afternoon.
almost dropped you over.
It is track recruitment time. So it's the beginning of the application process for the new year, or the new 2 years. So as you all know, as current track members, you have 2-year term limits. So you, when you apply to be on the track, you are agreeing, and you're chosen to be on the track, you are agreeing to a 2-year limit. And so you can actually apply for two 2-year limits, 2 consecutive 2-year limits for a total of 4 years. And so we have only one member that is expiring their 4 years of consecutive track membership, and that is our chair, Ms. Elizabeth Golden. We're really sad that you will be leaving us after this year, but you can always come back. But you have a waiting period in between.
You can do
And
the
we
Kim.
also have 5 members.
Come back.
Can't believe it either.
We have 5 members who are finishing their first 2-year term with us, and the 5 members are listed here. You might know who you are.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Like, oh my gosh, 2 years has flown by. Can you believe it? So, with the 5 of you that are finishing up your 2-year term, you can reapply for another 2 years. And we would love to see you reapply for another 2 years. You should let Mary Ann know if you do plan to either reapply or if you plan to sadly part from us. We would love to see you stay, but we would need to know, so the application period will actually begin starting next week, August 27th. Yep, that's next week. And then it will be open until October 1st. So you have a whole month of September to figure out if you really want to reapply. And then also invite your friends, your fellow bus riders on your favorite route, the people that you ride to work with every day, people that you see at the terminal, at your bus stop. We'd love to see you all promote.
I've given away some of these cards.
Yes, exactly.
Remember the
And so we will have, I have applications here, maybe Juan will help me pass them out. And we also have a flyer here, so you can take a couple, pass them, maybe you have a place that you'd like to post it, really help us promote the application for this year. Because we will have at least 1 vacancy, and I know Mary Ann said up to 3 vacancies for this upcoming 2020 year. We will be doing some marketing and outreach for it, but we can always use your help. So behind the driver notices will be going up soon, as well as our link on our website and the homepage. So you see the scrolling banner come through. We'll have one of those with the track application and the track flyer on it. We put it on our on our Facebook page and our Twitter. We will be sending the text message out. So do all of you get the 41411 text messages? No? Have you ever texted your bus stop number to 41411?
Yeah,
Ask, find out when your bus is coming?
Before they came out with the application.
Before they came out with Transit app? So if you did it before, we should still have your phone number. Okay, well, so we do send, no. That means that you fully transitioned over to Transit app, and I think that's okay. But we do send a text message to over almost 6,000 subscribers to our 41411 text message service. Our customer service representatives will be promoting it when you call. I know that we talked about recording on the info line for the track recruitment. Notices at our terminals. We'll be promoting in all of our outreach activities. With the start of the school year, Juan and I are going out to quite a few different events, and we'll be promoting it there, as well as to the PSTA board and the other citizens advisory councils through our Forward Pinellas MPO, FDOT, our city partnerships, and the like. And then, so if you do find anyone that is interested in applying, you can go to psta.net/join-track. And if you have an extra, if you keep the application with you, you can always give it to someone, or let Marianne know and we'll email it to you. Like there's so many ways that we can give you that application, and you can also find it on our website. If you remember some really cool things that you all did this year, you know, a few of you got really involved in our outreach and helped come out and promote PSTA and our projects and programs and initiatives. We have the TRAC Star Award that you all created, which is really awesome and cool. So there are ways that you can make a difference, and so we hope that you encourage your friends, maybe it's family, maybe it's your fellow bus riding community to apply. All right, any questions? Yes?
Who is responsible for letting you know when your expiration date is up?
That is a great question. I believe Marianne has all of that being tracked. So if you are, if you want to know when your term expires, she will be able to answer that question for you. So if it's not now, it's probably next year.
So everybody's got 2-year terms and and we stagger them. So about 5 to 7 people term out every year. So if your name was not up there, you're good.
Yes.
For another year.
Yes, for another year. Yeah. Exactly. Any other questions? This was purely informational. So if you have any questions and you want to ask where we're doing more outreach or give any suggestions for us, Juan and I are always, and Bob are always here after the meeting, so please feel free to let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're past questions and comments. Any other business? Yes, let's turn to Bob Lasher.
Just letting you know, we've got BRT open houses coming up. You will be getting emails, but I wanted to tell you today, we'll have one on September 11th at 6 p.m. That's in Pasadena City Hall. And then we're going to have one here before the September board meeting, which is an evening board meeting. So it'll be here starting at 5 o'clock that night. But I will be emailing you. And an update on the Star Award, I'm just waiting to hear back from the city of St. Pete. And as soon as I find out when we're going to award that, I'll let you all know that too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have some time. Anybody else have something they need to share or want to share?
Well, I want to make
Okay.
a nice comment. I take the bus from Bay Pines all the way down to Dunedin on Curlew and Bay Shore. And I have to say, I have never had any problem. It's probably, you know, I've been able to meet all my connections. There's only 2 buses or the trolley, whatever time I go. And I just want to say it's great. I've never had any problem.
That's beautiful.
That
You
is
know,
beautiful.
I mean, it just.
It makes me so happy.
No,
Well, you know, people always hear the bad things.
well,
and I honestly
because I'm
say,
thinking there was
I
a
haven't-
driver
That's good scheduling.
that actually announced that there was a detour. And it's been so long, I forgot to call him up and tell him. But anyway, and I forget the route number. What route was that? Or from Bay Pines that goes all the way up there?
Well, I do 18
That's what I
into
thought.
Clearwater, and from Clearwater, I either take 66L or I take the Jolly Trolley during the daytime.
Okay. All that
But,
distance and all that, those meeting, great.
I mean, and I, you know, 10 or 15 minutes in between waiting from one to the other. It's a smooth ride, long but
Yes.
smooth. So I just wanted to
Yes, yes,
say
yes.
that, you know,
And I wish I could remember the driver and the route that somebody actually announced there's gonna be deviation. And it was 79. Pretty sure it was 79. And I was impressed. So that kind of thing, that's
If you
good to
ever
hear.
do have that moment where you're impressed, if you just write down what route you're on and what time it is, we could probably figure out who the operator is.
Okay. Yeah,
But we appreciate
So
all
maybe I
those. We'd like to
deleted
thank them for doing such a good job when they're out on the road. And it's really impressive that you're, especially since the coastal only runs every hour.
I
So that's
know.
even more impressive.
well, I mean, again, it's all timing. Once you time it, it's great. I mean, you know, it's really smooth sailing, so. all the drivers driving, I'm reading, it's great, you know?
Thank you.
Got a question about deviation. On the 79, at times, where Whitney Road is, they might have road construction.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the driver has to reroute. So what is the, if someone that's on Whitney Road, they're waiting for the bus, and all of a sudden it reroutes and they don't know it, what should they do? I mean, I know they're gonna have to call the operator.
Right.
So how, when that scenario takes place.
Like if it's like an accident or something,
or
a
an
real
accident
time.
Or a road, anything that, yeah, that.
I mean, road construction or things that happen, that go on for like days.
Well, it's
then-
intermittent, it's not like it's happening consistently, it just all of a sudden just happens. So, what could be done? What would be-
Just like my driver did, I'm sorry, beautiful. He announced it, but you can't do that for the people that are waiting at the bus stop. So I'm not sure how they would have to call up, right?
Yeah, we do post issues on social media. But sometimes if they're happening and they haven't sent it back to dispatch, we don't necessarily know if there's an accident or something like that until it gets back to dispatch.
Cassandra,
Yeah.
normally what happens with that is, if we hear from the driver that this detour is taking place at that time, the dispatch relay that to customer service. And so if you call customer service, they can give you real-time, up-to-date information on that in most cases.
So if dispatch knows, everybody else knows.
Right.
If dispatch doesn't know, we don't know.
Right.
Go ahead.
I am very happy to see that they're starting to put the time stop signs on the particular route sign wherever there's a time stop, so that if nothing else, it's a good reminder to the drivers, don't go
Yes.
past here before the scheduled time. So, that was a great, I don't know whose idea it was, but it was a great one, so.
It was a great idea.
Yeah.
Not my idea. Somebody else. Well, I have a more, not a positive comment, but a competitive comment. I heard that several of you are not getting text because you're using the transit app. Are all of you using the transit app, or do you know what that is?
Yes.
And do any of you ride regularly the Route 4? You do? You do? Okay, well, I don't know if you've all noticed inside the transit app, when you hit go, it gives you a little smiley face. And if you press on the smiley face, it tells you what place you're in this month and all time in helping other customers who are also using the transit app. Because when you're using the transit app, it's tracking your location on the phone, and then it's helping tell other customers when your bus is coming, because it's tracking because you're on the bus. And I'm only in 13th place. So I'm dying to know who are the 12 people that are doing better than me. And the competition is only on your route. The competition is by your route, so you're welcome to ride other routes. But I'm in 13th. So
But you would need to keep it open and, during your entire bus ride. You'd have to have the transit app open and possibly active. Or
Well-
let your phone, background access.
Yes.
Yeah, it needs
Something.
background
you could,
access.
yeah.
Yeah, you can turn your phone off, but it'll still be eating at your battery because it does need that background access.
Well,
Well,
I
that's a
agree
good
with
reminder.
that.
That's a
It's
good
a
reminder.
battery problem, but
Yeah.
anything for victory.
That's what.
That's a good reminder. So,
Is this like Foursquare where you get to be the king of some
Yes.
place?
Yeah.
He's the king of the
King
four.
of the hill.
Well,
He's
I am,
behind 12 other people.
I've never been in first place. I'm 13th place. I'm 13th place for the month so far, and today's August 20th, and then I'm 14th place all time on Route 4.
That's
So-
unacceptable.
Very problem.
But I bet some of you maybe are even for your route. If you go on the same route all the time, you might be in first place. You should just check that out. you get some kind of prize.
Sounds like a challenge.
It is a challenge.
I got one. I
Go ahead.
would say, I'm happy to see on the signs for the buses, it says ride with respect.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they need to ride, you need to give the bus drivers respect when they ride the buses. That's the biggest thing, and I like that.
Yes, I've noticed that too. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I have two things. My first one is just another positive. The 9 has been, like the reroute of the 9 has been great in the morning. It's always very timely. And my transfers have gone very smoothly. I've also had a good transfer experience. I used to take the 5 like all the way across, and now I'm like on the 9, and then I transfer to another bus. So that schedule change has worked out great, and that one's been.
I mean, connecting the
Yeah.
5 and the 9 to, and splitting Grand Central has been good.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
good.
split has been fine and has worked well,
Okay.
and no complaints there. But related to the 9 and the transit app, when you are downtown and waiting for the 9 going north, transit does not seem to know where that bus is, and the time predictions are wildly comically off. So you have to like literally go in and like look where the bus is on the map, because the timestamps are just so out there for the northbound for some reason. For
Really?
the one heading
But you
to
can
Grand
see, you can
Central-
see where your bus is, but it
you
doesn't
can
do.
see the bus, but if you're just like, quickly tapping and looking at the prediction or something, it says like, oh, 13 minutes. But you look at the thing and you're like, oh, the bus is literally around the corner, or the bus passed 10 minutes ago, but it says it's coming like, in a couple minutes. It does not seem to have any idea for that direction of the route. It's very strange.
On the northbound 9.
Yeah, the northbound.
Okay.
Yeah, when it's heading towards Grand Central, perfectly fine, but coming from and going north is. Ugh.
Where do you catch it in downtown?
Usually right around, like, maybe 7th or so and First Avenue South. But I've caught it in a couple other places, like in that general vicinity, and it's also been weird.
I had a question. Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've got another question that's happened to me a few times. The only one I can actually pinpoint as to when was on the 5, although now that would be the 9, I think, going towards, on Fifth, not the 5, what is that? Yeah, the 5, Fifth Ave, north of 16th. I rushed to get there from Central Ave because it said I had 11 minutes to get there. I got there, it went to 0, and then it went to another thing of waiting another 15 minutes or something. And I figured that one out. It was because of sending a bus around sooner or something like that, because I just happened to talk to somebody on the route. But it's really bad when you're looking at your app and you rush to get somewhere, and so you don't have to wait an hour or a half hour or whatever for the next bus. And all of a sudden, it goes from like, it's due in a couple minutes to it's due in a half hour. And I don't know what causes it, other than that possibility of when they take one bus and shorten its route so that they can get caught up more or less with one time. I know they used to do that all the time on the 19th, but that didn't affect the app because I have a smartphone then. But
I don't know.
it just, all of a sudden, I've had it happen a few times, a few routes, and I'm usually in a hurry, so I don't think to write them down. And in the future, I will try to, but it's been an occasional problem. But when you're sitting, you're standing there at the route and it's due in a few minutes, and all of a sudden it changes to 20 minutes later, it's not a good thing.
Something you want to do is you want to make sure that you refresh your app if you have it open. It might give you an old time, so you refresh it maybe a couple of times, and it'll give you more of an accurate time. And that's happened to me as well.
Actually,
where I look
when
at the app and it's 10 minutes, and I refresh it, and now it's down to 1, so I'm like running to the bus stop.
Well, I did that a couple of times when I was running, and it was, coming up with basically the same time, maybe a part of a minute or something off, but it just flaked out, basically. And I mean,
That happens to me,
It was a current
too.
thing, it showed, in fact, it even showed a bus, because I wanted to see where it really was. Then it was, all of a sudden, it wasn't there, so.
I have a question. When we're looking at that map where you can see the bus move, is it like that video game in the early days, Pac-Man, so they're eating up the stops, or is the other way around? I can't figure, if I'm lucky enough to get the bus going the right direction, that's good. But then I gotta figure out which way the bus is going, so, and I'm watching it, I think it's eating up the stops and they're done. The future stops are still colored, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, so it's Pac-Man.
Like that,
Thank you, I'll
yeah.
never forget. Thank you. Pac-Man. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any glitches? Any experiences? I'd say
Good meeting.
we adjourn the meeting. Like I said, it was a quick one. The next meeting is September 17th, not my birthday this year, at 4 p.m. We'll see you in a month.
Thank you.
18.
Thank you.